you got going, Anthony?
It is. It's a scene I took on a walk with a friend a couple weeks ago, and we had a double rainbow, and I just thought it was a good background to have with somebody like yourself. You know, some hope and presence. You know, in such a doom and gloom year we've had this year.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing today, sir? It's very nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Is it Nado or Nado? What is it?
Nado. Yeah.
Nado. Thank you.
Thank you. So how's 2020 been treating Mr. Farner? How's your year been?
Good. I'm proud to be sucking air this year.
Yeah. So you go back you have such a storied career. You know, everybody knows your background with Grand Funk Railroad and all that. You've got your own little thing going on now. I mean, not that you can tour or anything. How does that feel for somebody who likes to be in front of the crowd and likes to have that interaction? How does that feel for you having to be at home and having to do this sort of thing?
Well, I'll tell you, brother, when I play live and I finish a song, the crowd comes alive. There's applause, there's accolades, there's hollering, whistling. When I'm on this thing and I finish a song, there's nothing. So that part, I don't think I'd ever want to get used to it. I'm just biding the time until I can get back in front of my peeps, you know, where we can communicate and where there's a direct line of communication in our spirits.
Mm-hmm. I hear you 100%.
Good.
Because I've been asking that of a few of the artists that I've been talking to, and the reaction's kind of the same. You know, it's just that vibe you get from the crowd. It really helps you move it along.
Yes, it does. It inspires us. And when I'm floating 3 foot over the deck there, that's when they're really getting to us.
Because if we want to go back and we go back to the history books, you guys sold out Shea Stadium in 72 hours. You guys sold it out faster than the Beatles.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, I feel so elevated about that because I wrote every song that night when we played. That was all my music. That was before anybody else started writing music in the group, and I just said to myself, they really like the songs I wrote. You know, especially like when we did "I'm Your Captain." That stadium was, you know, a half circle, and we're set up on second base, so the focal point of that audience when they were singing was right there on second base, and it was drowning out the PA, dude. That loud.
So you sell out the Beatles, but then I got to ask you, when you sell out a crowd that large, how does that feel as a performer to be out on that stage and you're in front of this mass of people? How does that? Do you feel overwhelmed, or do you just go with the flow?
Well, when I step in front of an audience, Anthony, it's like I'm stepping in front of my family. I'm close to my family. I've laid my heart on the lines of my songs, and they know who I am because I am who my songs say I am, brother. So it's like a reunion every flipping time.
That's great. It's a great way to be.
Yeah.
And you've had that since back in the day to today.
Yeah, man.
That's your persona all the way.
Yeah, man. over 50 years.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
That's a
man.
great way to be.
Pinch me.
Right. But you're so humble about it. Like I've seen so many interviews with you on TV or with fellows doing interviews like this, and you're just so humble and down to earth. How do you maintain that balance?
Well, I think just keeping in mind that we're all human and that we all have talents. Mine happens to be in music, where other people's are in other areas, but we all have talents. And so I just look at it as, because, and another thing is when I've seen people that have let it go to their head, brother, there are your examples of why I don't want to get that way. And I don't want, project myself in a way that I've always tried to be just your brother, like family reunion. I want people to know that I make mistakes. And even at like rock and roll fantasy camp, David Fishoff's fantasy camp, when you're sitting across the table from a rock star and he burps, you're just like, holy crap, man, that guy's real. He's for real. And if they are, man, they are really real. Like when Frank Zappa told us the reason that he wanted to produce us was because when he walked into the studio in Michigan here, Craig Frost, the keyboard player, had laid a fart on the leg of Don Brewer, the drummer, just backed up against him and farted on his leg. And Zappa loved that so much. He says, I love you guys. This is where I need to be.
Because there's just that calm, that environment that you guys had set within each other to just be you.
Yep.
And that's healthy.
Yeah, I think so. Keeps it in perspective.
It definitely does. Yeah. Now I know the Beatles were inspirational to you, and you've inspired a lot of musicians through your career. Who, besides the musicians that you've been quoted as, who was your inspiration for wanting to be in music?
Well, my mother actually, because I was playing junior varsity ball, got hurt, and the doctor told my mother he's not going to be playing any more football and he's not going to be running track this fall. And she felt sorry for me. So for my 15th birthday, got me 6 lessons and rented an acoustic guitar, a K flat top. And I took 3 lessons, and the guitar teacher had a hunting accident. It was bird season in Michigan, and he shot himself in the foot, really seriously, with a 12 gauge. So he called my mother and said he couldn't finish the lessons for me to just go watch guys in the high school band, eh? So I go and I check these guys out because they're friends of my sister, and she's older than me, was in a grade above me. And they said, oh, come on over here, kid, I'll show you. So I learned, chords, and I learned little licks, and these guys got together and rehearsed every night and would play maybe once a month out at a wedding reception or a party or something. And so it was good, break-in period for me. And I learned, how to be in front of a crowd and play my guitar and sing at the same time. But I was having some difficulty with this, Anthony. I was really having difficulty because I would be playing this rhythm thing on my axe and then try to sing a different rhythm with my vocal to follow the melody. And I told my Uncle Woody, I said, man, I'm really having a hard time with this. He says, I'll tell you what you do, and this is going to cure your problem. You take a newspaper, you flip it upside down, so you're reading upside down, push it across the table sit there at your kitchen table and read all of the headlines in the large print, backwards and upside down. Read it and start doing that. And then turn the page and then read just the large print, the bold print. And so I started doing that. And he went to the other room, and I'm in there in his dining room, and I'm reading his paper upside down, turning the page. And brother, I'm telling you what, it uses, in order for you to do that, it uses both hemispheres of the brain, which you have to do in order to sing one melody and one, rhythm while you're playing a different one, altogether different. And I started singing, I started playing. And my uncle Woody's over there looking at me, smiling. He said, "See, I told you you could do that." I was just blown away. So I still do that to this day, brother. I still practice using both hemispheres. And I'm always reading things that are backwards. I'm good at that now.
Forget the old trick of turning the paper backwards and trying to read it in the mirror, right? Upside down, and yeah, that's unique. That's a different way for sure.
Well, it works, and it works for everybody that's tried it. Everybody that I've turned on to it, they just go, "I don't know how that's working, but by God, I'm doing it."
So in regards, getting back roughly to the Beatles and their problem with copyright and stuff, last couple of days, I don't know if you heard or not, but Taylor Swift's whole entire catalog was sold to an independent firm or something for $300 million. So she's lost all the rights to all those songs that she wrote, the videos, everything she's done with her career. She has, and she said she was not contacted at all.
Oh my God.
Right? Like that's a huge investment of her life that she put into that music. Oh. And somebody just taken it, and they've taken the rug literally out, and the trapdoor's right there and everything.
Good.
How does that speak to you as somebody who, do you own all the rights to the music that you've written, or has a contractual obligation made you kind of hold it up to the music studios, or how does that work for you?
Well, my first manager, Terry Knight, told me I needed to publish my songs through his publishing company. Here I'm a 20-year-old boy, and I'm listening to this guy who tells me he has a worldwide affiliation and I need to, publish my songs through his company. I didn't know that I could have been the publisher, and because I was the one up on that stage promoting those songs, that I really should have had my publishing, and it was no effort on his part to cash the checks that he was getting. And so for the first 6 albums, I don't have any of the publishing. I have songwriters only. After that, when we got rid of Terry Knight and the band put out the Phoenix album, that was actually the first LP where I had my own publishing, Cram Renrap. And from then on, I own all of my publishing on all my songs. But the ones that did the most would have a piece of.
So anybody's free to use it, basically, or is it got still copyright under that label?
Anybody could use your songs. All they have to do is license the songs. They can license through Harry Fox in Vegas, or they could license directly through the record company. They could license songs right through Capitol Records. Yeah.
It'd be nice if they just reached out to you and asked you, though, right?
Yeah, it'd be nice to control it all.
Right. So it's a long shot off, not a long shot off, but it's a long distance off. But you've got a DVD coming out next
Yes.
February 23rd to be exact.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a
It's
little bit about that?
Yeah, I want to talk about it. It was a live recording, 8 camera shoot in Santiago, Chile, at Teatro Caupolicán, and it was a sold out crowd. And when I took the stage, the people, the Chilean fans, were showing us the love. Oh, were they showing us the love? It it was deafening, the screams and the hollers and the singing of the words. Like they sing, even though naturally Hispanic speaking people, they sang American English as good as you or I could do it. And it was loud. It was loud. The cameramen, they were all over the stage, but they never stepped in our way. They were so considerate. And Carlos, the head dude from the Abyss, Abysmo video company, he is just a sweetheart, a very creative man, but so considerate. I've never been around somebody that is this considerate, and in a profession that he's in. He did great work, and the free download of Rock and Roll Soul shows some of the work that his team did, and they showed some of the bits from the live shoot at Teatro Caupolicán in this video, but came up with a very patriotic, with a Camaro, dude, sitting in a garage with an American flag, and just like what I like, farmland, the country, the wide open spaces, yeah, and riding on the beach with, in the saddle alongside of a beautiful woman going down through, and they use a drone to shoot it. Oh, it's beautiful.
Nice.
It is absolutely beautiful.
Well, getting back to the crowd, that's the wonderful thing about the universal language of music, right? There is no nationality when people start singing.
That's right.
Unless they're singing in their natural tongue, then but otherwise it's transferable, right? Like,
yes. We did 18 songs that night, and the release of the DVD will include bonus videos and 5 bonus songs that have never been out before. So it's quite a good deal, for the fans. They're not just getting the From Chile with Love. They're getting some extra stuff and the bonuses. And when we do our Talk Shop Live video, we're going to be giving away some autographed guitars and some special stuff to people who pre-order the DVD. So I'm getting, man, I'm getting some help, and I'm feeling like, even as down as I have been because I haven't been on stage, brother, I'm kind of like, hey, I got to get on a stage. Let me out of here. This has helped me to get me through it, and to keep my focus on who I am, where I'm going, and not let this scamdemic get to me. I believe in the COVID. I know friends of mine have got it, and I know one person that died from it. The COVID is real, but the powers and the principalities and the rulers of the darkness of this world have used that to keep us off balance. And I just can't imagine what they're doing behind the scenes. What's next? It's so bad. But I keep my focus on my heart because I'm made of love. I came from love, and I will return to love when I leave this bone suit, brother. So I'm going to keep my intentions in the line of love and to help people discover that love within themselves. Because guess what? We all leave this bone suit,
Yes, we
and
do.
we go back to where we came from. I can say that because when I had my pacemaker put in, I died twice. And I went to heaven twice, and I didn't want to come back here twice. uh, it's that good, you know. Love is that good. And when you exit the bone suit, you know all things, and you know that this is where you came from. And I even had a glimpse, just you know, I had the fulfillment of knowing what the purpose of these earth years was all about. But that was in that other tense. And what that is, I could not tell you today, brother, because I'm back in this bone suit, and it's only I'm limited to what this suit can do. My spirit can do all kinds of things, but it has to perform inside of this limited bone suit, and it's limited in its reach and its understanding and its direction and what it can do. But where we go, there's no limit. Right back to where we started from.
But getting to that love that you're talking about, you've shown some love on your own because you recently launched a GoFundMe campaign to benefit the Mid-Michigan flood victims. So
Yeah, and
tell everybody a bit about that,
well,
please.
in Midland, there, yes, and my pleasure. Thank you, Anthony. We were watching the local news, and when we saw how when the dams broke on Wickham Lake, and it just went from one lake to the next lake to the next lake, and they just all overflowed, and people's houses got washed away, boats got washed away, cars got washed away. It was devastating. It's just fantastic. I mean, the power of water moving like that, it's just, you're not going to stop it. And these people, then we saw on the television and they're telling their story, our hearts went out to them. Lisa and I, my wife, Lisa, and I just thought, well, what can we do? We'd like to go down there and, put a hands on, but there's, only the Red Cross is in there of Michigan. And she said, we could just start a GoFundMe and give some money, to the Red Cross who's helping the victims down there. I said, good idea. And so we started the Mark Farners Mid-Michigan Flood Relief GoFundMe page. And anybody that wants to go and help us out, we appreciate it. God bless you for helping the Michiganders who don't get seen after that first day. You never hear another thing. It's all this other BS. Because in 1995, when they deregulated the FCC here in the United States, the ownership went to the people that issue the currency to our country. And it was in the hands of the people who live here, because you could only own 7 a.m., 7 FM, and 7 television stations under the 777 rule of the FCC. But in 1995, they deregulated the FCC, and that opened this can of vomit that has been puking on us ever since. The radio went to horsey poo poo in our country.
And pretty well predominantly around the world. I mean, it's just the floodgates have opened, like in a literal sense, in regards to what they're allowing on television now, and it's just dribble.
Yeah, exactly. But when the moral conscience was in there, when it was the 777, you had moms, dads, grandmothers, grandfathers, families that owned all these stations, and patriotic families with a moral sense over what all of our children saw and heard. And until 95, we had that moral check. And after removing the 777, it was like, here, stab me many times as you want to. Let all the blood out of me, you know.
Geraldo Rivera, all the talk trash shows came up, and yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They just wanted steel chairs over the head and stuff like that. You know, the blood and the guts.
Yeah, yeah.
The old news saying, if it bleeds, it leads. So what about any possible live streaming performances? I know Facebook is kind of shutting that whole thing down. Is there any possibility of people maybe seeing you and a fellow some of your Great American, I see the T-shirt hanging up behind you there, the All American Band.
Yeah.
Any chance that you might set up shop where you're standing now and maybe do a little something for somebody or for the?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, it's kind of like this is where we rehearse anyways, and it's a big room. So there's a big tall ceiling, and so there's place for the sound to go. You're not killing one another, you know, at 10 feet. And when we rehearse, Hubert uses electronic drums, so we can turn him down. You know, but it really helps us dial in our vocals and get all our parts right, because you're not having to, you know, overcome the volume of the drums. The acoustic drum so loud here in this room. Oh my God, we would stuff in our ears and still, you know, stand there, sing and play. But now we don't have to stuff things in our ears, and it's pleasurable. And we will at some point attempt a show here. I don't know. It might be just one camera. But I've been exploring, asking around to some of my engineer friends and studio guys that I know, and they're going to get me hooked up to where I have a camera that I can adjust the zoom on and the resolution, and microphones that I can actually put a limiter on there or a compressor and have it sound good. You know, it's not the microphone within a computer. It would be an external mic, and you know, it'll sound a lot better than if I was to set the band up here and try to play you a program right now. Oh man, it'd be a fuster.
It'd be like being in a small club with a band that's cranked up a little too loud. Just distortion.
Yeah.
I'm going to include all the links for the GoFundMe and for the DVD that's coming out in February, so people can get a good look at what that's all about and stuff like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
God bless you for that.
Not a problem. My pleasure, sir. Is there anything else you'd like to add at all?
Just that I'm a patriot, American, and on my markfarner.com site, everything in my store is made here in America, in the United States. I take pride in this country, way beyond what a lot of other people are doing, but they haven't been taught right, and they just need some examples of people who are really patriotic, and so everything that I sell is made in America. And if you was to find my name on a shirt made in Sri Lanka or someplace else, it's a bootleg.
Right.
That's how you know. Mine are all USA made.
Right on.
I'm proud of that.
You have some exterior noise, it sounds like. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, a little bit of, what the heck was that? A little clumping or something?
Yeah.
Huh. It's not here. It's in the wires.
Oh, they got us tapped, Mark. They got us tapped. You started speaking about the USA, they're tapping you now. I don't know how much time I'm allowed.
Well, I have another interview coming up.
Okay.
And
So I should maybe give you a couple minutes to.
Yeah.
Okay. I sincerely appreciate your time.
Thank you, brother. My pleasure.
Thank you kindly, sir. All the best to you and your family. And I'll send this off to Melissa, and she should hopefully forward it to you.
All right. Thank you, brother. God bless you. If I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
Like that one. Take care.
God bless.
All the best to you. Thank you.